Well, hello everybody. Welcome to another video, a random video where we just we share some stuff with you guys. For those that have been following the journey, the van, if we can see it in the distance, look at that beautiful sunshine right there, is just parked over there. And this is the view that I am currently looking out on. How amazing is that? And today we are having a break from driving miles and missioning around cities, and we're going to chill with a couple of Aldi's finest beers. We have one Spanish lager, you know how we like the Spanish lager, and we have an English vintage cider. So we're going to chill, have a beer. We've also got some little nibbles for those interested. We've got some fig rolls, I think these were about 48p. These are amazing. We've got a yogurt, one of these split pot ones, absolutely love these. We've got basically a fake Twix. We've got some fake Monster Munch, and we've also got a fake Snickers. So we're going to chill, have a couple of beers, and yeah, I thought, why not share some stories from my life, seeing as though we're having a break. And I thought what we're going to do is talk about the 3 times that I got lucky and didn't die, and one I would definitely class as a miracle that I can't really explain. It goes beyond luck. The other 3 times that I'm going to talk about that I nearly died, you could say, and I would say, that I was lucky. But the last story that I'll share with you, I would say that it goes beyond luck. And that's why I'd say it's definitely, for me, an unexplained miracle. But anyway, guys, first of all, cheers. Here's to being alive and getting lucky, even at stupid times in my life when I've made mistakes. It's a beauty, that. All right, rolling into the first one. This is when I was at school, and basically I actually ended up suing the school over this, and I got $3,000 in compensation, even though I was an idiot. But at the end of the day, kids will be kids, and I was a stupid kid, to be fair. I was way too wild, naughty little bastard, yeah, just crazy, couldn't sit still and all this kind of stuff. So but anyway, yeah, basically there was some wood that was in a corridor, and all of the kids, including myself, were queuing. This is when I was about, I'd say 14. I think this was 14, so like year 8-ish in English school. And basically there was some wood leaning against the wall of a corridor, and the long, like this thick pieces of wood, like if you can imagine, they were about, I'd say 1.5 meters probably tall, and there were 6 of them, and they were long. I don't know, there must have been at like probably 3 meters long, at least 3 meters long, probably 4 meters maybe, something like this. They were long. And we found out afterwards from the builders that had left them there that they weighed a ton in weight. So this is how heavy they were, and trust me, they were heavy. And wait until I tell you this story. So basically, one of my mates at school, Chris, he was a lot bigger than me at the time. And you know, I was super small, super skinny, that kind of stuff, and he was like, you know, pretty stocky for his age and stuff like this. And basically, and this is my fault, I'm not claiming it's anyone else's fault, but like I said, kids will be kids. And I was stupid at the best of times, to put it that way. But we basically started pulling them one by one, just forward a little bit. Because they were heavy, we wanted to see who could be the strongest to pull these pieces of wood forward. And you know, he started with one, and then I maybe did two, and then he did three, and then I thought, screw this, let's do the lot. So I grabbed all 6 of them, and we were only pulling it forward a little bit and then pushing it back. But I pulled these forwards, and literally as soon as it just got past that vertical point, I tried to push them back, and he even ran in and tried to push. No chance. And I couldn't escape it because I was basically in the middle of this 4 meter long thing, and this wood just goes straight down on me. And if I can show you, I'm like basically the wall, and this is why I say I was lucky not to die, because these pieces of wood were like 1.5 meters tall, and the corridor must have been like, well, put it this way, there was literally that much room between the woods, the end of the woods, where it had come down just bam on me, the wood here, and the back of the wall. So I was literally, it comes down, I just get folded, bang! And I'm telling you guys, if you've ever done yoga, you've never seen a yoga lesson like this in your life. Because this wood slams down on me, my knees, I might have to put the camera down a little bit. Bosh, you can definitely see that. My knees fall like this, I'm not even joking. My fucking legs were literally flat on the floor. It's the most, oh, we're just ripping our pants. Well, I'm not going to show you, but it's the most extreme yoga lesson you'll ever have in your life. These 2 legs were totally flat on the floor. I was obviously squealing like a pig, and I was trapped. And basically the wood hit down, falls down, boom, hits down here, flattens my legs, and I'm literally, my back is literally against the wall, and the wood is here. So if that corridor had have been literally this much smaller, or the wood had have been that much taller, then fuck, spilling the beer here, look. Oh mate, look at this. We don't want that to happen. It's probably because I'm telling a stupid story, so I'm also doing stupid things. That would have been the end of life aside, put it this way, because literally the wood would have come here, and yeah, there's no way, that's it, it's just game over, because I wouldn't have been able to breathe. And this is how heavy it was. The whole class was trying to lift it off, and they couldn't. And I'm flipping screaming, and this teacher that I didn't like at the time at school, he was probably loving it, to be fair, because he just thought, you little bastard, you deserve this. I mean, to be fair, I probably did, but it's a little bit extreme. Anyway, and then he's like, 1 by 1, guys, take your time. I'm like, fucking take your time. My legs are literally flat on the ground right now. I'm being stretched like I don't know what. I'm squealing away. There's another dude down there that had nothing to do with it. He broke both of his legs because he was in the way of this beast just falling. So yeah, anyway, they eventually, you know, 1 by 1 took these pieces of wood off, and I flipping just had to crawl out like the Terminator. And yeah, that was a very close time, because that was just lucky measurements. A little bit further in the wrong way, 100% I'm a goner, because I wouldn't have been able to breathe. And if it was that much longer, obviously, well then that's literally game over, because I'm getting totally squished here. So that was one lucky time. That was when I was at school. The next stupid thing that I've done as well, which I would say, well, yeah, probably would have killed me, if not definitely blinded me. I was mowing, this is probably when I was about 13 maybe, around the same age probably-ish. And I was mowing my neighbour's lawn because I used to mow lawns for money, you know, this little hustler as we go as kids. And I was mowing the lawn and I ran over the wire, 240-volt wire, and I didn't know anything about electrics and stuff like this. And stupidly, I pick up these wires and I literally hold them this close to my face and I just put them together and it just goes bang, and there's a huge, like, bright light, an explosion, because obviously the two wires have just touched. And I'm not even joking, we're talking, it was this close to just jamming straight into my face, straight into my head. So that was the second time that was a close call to being finitoed. One last swig of beer. And the third time was not my fault. And if you guys have been here for quite a while, then you'll know that I talked about what it's like to work with wankers and these idiots that I worked with when I was doing air conditioning and plumbing. And they were a bunch of pricks. I'm going to do another video, by the way, on quitting your job, because I've quit quite a lot of jobs and I think that can help some people based on my experiences that I feel like I need to probably share with you guys. But that's a separate video. Anyway, these guys were a bunch of savages. And basically, we were in this, it was kind of like a computer room, and there were servers, and these things were ridiculously heavy. And they were basically about this wide, and they were probably, I'd say, 2.5 meters tall, something like this. Big metal things, quite long, about 2 meters long again. And we had to move them, basically. And they were stacked up against each other, these big metal shelves full of servers. And they had to use a hydraulic lift, that's how heavy these were, to lift these things up, put them on rollers, and then move them. And basically what these guys did to me, they made me grab one of these hydraulic lifts and they said, you crawl in there. So I went in the middle again, and they said, right, when we lift this thing up, you slide under the roller. But I was doing it in the middle, extremely dangerous. But I didn't really have a choice because of these animals that I was working with anyway. They totally didn't care about my safety at all. If anything, they'd have probably preferred it if this thing had flattened me. Anyway, so I crawl in between these servers, and they're like, the shelves like at least this far apart. Hopefully, the camera can pick it up. I crawl in, and anyway, they start jacking it up. This thing comes up, and I'm in the middle, and then the shelf just goes like this. And I'm literally in the middle here, and I'm telling you now, this thing would have flattened me like a piece of paper. It was that heavy. But do you know what happens? And this is the only reason I didn't die from this incident. I'm in the middle of this long shelf thing, whatever you want to call it. It starts fucking falling like this. That was going to be the end of Psy. Fortunately, it hits the other server shelf. Bosh, bosh, and like a domino thing happened between 4 shelves, and I am literally in this small gap underneath this first one, and I managed to crawl out. So that was a lucky situation. So I'd say they're the main ones. I've had other, I would say, like lucky situations, but none so much that I would say would be a definite finisher, put it that way, because they definitely would have been. Now, this is where I talk about classing this next one as a miracle that can't be explained, because like I said, it goes, in my opinion, way beyond luck. Those other things you could say, I mean, clearly I did get lucky, but you could more class those just as purely luck. This next one, this is not just luck. and it wasn't a near death, but it was definitely a near blinding experience. And I do not know how I've still got my eyesight. And my mate Wayne, and he will account for this as well. He's another honest fella that will say it as it is. So this is when we were younger, and I was probably about, I don't know, we must have been about 11, 12 years old, something like this. And basically I got one of these science kits for Christmas or whatever as a present, and it's one of these ones where you got test tubes and you can put all sorts of chemicals and shit like this in the test tube, and you can heat it up, and you know, you do these little science experiments, whatever. Obviously I don't have a clue what I'm doing, and if I think about it, to be honest with you, the fact that you know they put this in a little box and it is designed for this kind of age, I think it's quite a risky one, because like I said, kids will be kids at the end of the day, and you don't really think about potential repercussions of what's happening. Anyway, we've got a burner, and I'm in my dining room, and there's we're sat on the table, the dining table. We're sat opposite each other, and this dining table is probably like, you know, I'd say like realistically this wide, if you can see my other arm, like basically this wide. We're sat opposite each other, and we're burning this. We've got a test tube with some of this science shit in it, whatever it is, and we're burning it from underneath, and we're both watching it. And then we put there's like a little cork thing that you can put in the top of the test tube, but we put the cork in the top. Obviously I know now, as you heat something, the pressure will build up. If there's nowhere for the air to escape, of course it's going to explode, and that's exactly what happened. So we're sat, we're literally leaning over the table, and this tube must be like this far from me and Wayne, and we're leaning in like this, and we're just looking at it as it's burning, this tube, and obviously the steam or whatever's starting to come. Then all of a sudden, poof, this thing explodes. Now, this is where I just can't, like, I would say I'm a person where maths works in my favour, and you look at probabilities, and this is outside the realm of just getting lucky. And people talk about angels watching over you and stuff like this. Who knows? But basically, this thing explodes, and we like, and there's mist that just goes past our faces like this, and then we're both there with closed eyes, and we slowly open to, I don't know, just see what the fuck has happened, basically. And there's not a mark on us. Now, I had a wall behind me, a wall on the right hand side, a wall behind Wayne, and my patio window here. The wall to the left of me had glass chip-ins all over it on this side. It had glass chip-ins all over it on this side. It had glass chip-ins on the other wall, and it had glass chip-ins on the wall behind Wayne. And yet, the exact place where we're looking at it, literally like here, that nothing touched us. And bear in mind, when I say glass, that literally indented the wall. This was like just an explosion of glass. Imagine, and you're just looking at it like this, bam! If that 100%, it would have ripped straight through my eyeball, because it was like, you know, that far, if you can see that, in the wall, into a concrete wall. It was not even plasterboard. It was literally like a brick wall, whatever, that had been painted over. So this thing hit it with some force, and the only, like, you could say, vicinity that was untouched was this journey somehow here, in this gap, and in the same gap for Wayne. It did not touch any of us at all, anywhere, and all around us was glass chip-ins in the wall. So that's definitely, even if you do want to call it lucky, I think it goes beyond luck myself, but either way, it's lucky, and that's definitely the luckiest moment of my life, without a doubt, because 100% I would have lost my eyesight, and that would have sucked. So there we go. Now I'm going to chill out. I'm going to watch the rest of the sun go down. I'm going to eat my goodies, carry on drinking my beer, I think, and yeah, just have a nice relaxed evening. Be thankful for being alive and for still having my sight. But anyway, guys, the journey continues tomorrow. Not quite sure which city. We drove past Winchester, but I'm going to do that on the way back. And then we're going to go to Oxford soon as well, but that might be at the weekend. Either way, anyway, I'll see you tomorrow. Definitely going to do a journey video tomorrow. So I will see you tomorrow when we hit the road again and keep going. I hope you've enjoyed these stories. If you've got any wild stories and stuff yourself, let me know. You know, maybe we could share some lucky moments. So rock. See you tomorrow, my people. Have a nice evening.